everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to continue our examination of Echo of Futurepast, the great anthology from the 80s. We're up to number 8, and we have a new series in this issue. It's Star Rat by Yugoslavian cartoonist Goran Delic, and he contributes the cover of the character. Definitely different than anything else in the issue. Contents page. And we start off with Chapter 3 of AE 35, written by Tim Ryan, pencils by William Junkuntz, and inks by Neil Adams. Also, colors by Arthur Suydam. Kind of weird. So, this series is getting even more crazy. This is a nutty cyberpunk comic, and I don't pretend to understand everything I'm reading in this. But let's try to figure this out together. Chapter 3 is called Cooperate. Our story to date. For 20 years, Isabel Kelvin has been keeping secrets from herself. Her life as an op for hire was lived within precisely defined boundaries. But now the bloodshed in the cathedral has triggered visions that threaten to unravel her universe. And we start where we left off, where Isabel sees these, ghost skeletons? I'm not sure what they're supposed to be. And neither does she. I don't think she knows what they're supposed to be. So she takes a shower. And, if you remember, she has the AE-35, this incredibly powerful computer thing that can, I can't think of a better term. It's a computer thing, and everyone's fighting for it because whoever possesses the AE-35 will basically be head honcho of the whole planet. She puts a lock on her door, but someone breaks in while she's in the shower, and we see a hand grabbing the device. Of course, when she comes out, she's shocked. She's like, God damn it, it's gone. Now, this is interesting. A35 does a lot of playful stuff like this. So, if you remember last issue, we saw these two agents of agency, which we do find out used to be the CIA, but they actually became a corporation unto themselves who basically licensed themselves to the U.S. government. Instead of being part of the U.S. government, now they're a corporation that basically does security and information gathering for the U.S. Gov. Hal and Dave are two desk jockeys, but this case is so big, they even are putting guys like them out in the field. So they're kind of bumbling. They're almost like a comedy duo, these two. It's just like this goofy repartee between them. They don't seem very competent. But I like this how this page is the Hal and David BioWorld placemat. And because they're at BioWorld, which is like the SIS version of Disney World. It's all pro-alien. And these guys are just bickering while they're eating some food, trying to figure out what's going on. So now we're back to Isabel. And she kind of figures that it was SIS who took the AE-35. So she goes undercover and goes to this place, which is almost like, it's called the Conclave. And it seems like it's almost like a library, a repository of knowledge. And she has kind of a hookup. The woman who works there kind of knows her. So she has like unlimited access to all this information. And so she's researching, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Kind of weird. It's like all this information is like printed under the art. So it's kind of hard to read. Kind of a weird technique. Once again, now we have another page. Instead of just telling the story straight, this is a storyboard, which Neil Adams, the inker, knows all too well about. He made a lot of money doing storyboards for decades. It's kind of weird. It's an alien historical celebration. And they're telling the story about how the famous actress Sandra Bernhard in the early 20th century how she was in Seattle and she wanted to go bear hunting. And we see this alien dressing up as a bear and basically taking the bullet for a real bear, because the aliens are all about, rights for every single organism, even chites. Very silly, very odd. So basically, it's like they're rewriting history. They're claiming that there were aliens back in 1900. Back in Bioworld, we see Hal and David again, and they're still just a bunch of goofballs. And then we see almost how there's the Hall of Presidents in Disney World with those, kind of robots. At Bioworld, they have R. Buckminster Fuller kind of preaching this almost socialist stuff. How basically, if we could get rid of all the corporations and stuff, there's more than enough resources in the world for everyone to live comfortable. And Hal and Dave are watching the audience. And that's how it ends. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. But it's kind of interesting, and the art's pretty nice. So now we have Star Rat by Goran Delic. It's pretty interesting. I guess Yugoslavia, if you guys know anything about Yugoslavia, I guess now it's Bosnia-Herzegovina and Serbia. But they have like more great comic artists per capita than most countries. They just love comics. But I guess it's not very profitable. There's not much of a market there. So this guy works in a factory all day. Goran Delic works in a factory all day, back in the mid-'80s. And at night, he'd draw comics. But the quality is just amazing. This isn't some like black and white mini comic like your friends used to make in college. This is like full-on like heavy metal worthy work. But he was just doing it in his spare time. He could barely make a living from it. Check out this. It's really nice, this art. This guy knows his shit. So Star Rat takes place in the future. And we see our main character, Star Rat, here. So basically, he's a kind of pal. Not really his pal. More like a frenemy. His name's Werner. And he offers him some drugs. And he basically offers him a deal. He says, I'll give you all the drugs you want, give you some money, but you got to take 20 of my friends to Sterile 3, a planet. So they need quick and safe transportation. And I guess it's a dangerous job. There's going to be all these bounty hunters on his ass. So he agrees to the job. He's got the 20 passengers in the hold there. And then all of a sudden, these bounty hunters are on his ass. This guy's really good. I really like to see this in black and white. I'm pretty sure this was originally in black and white. Because sometimes the coloring kind of obliterates the line work. Some of these spaceships, I almost see like Michael Golden in the art. So Star Rat basically, the last time he got a tune-up, he put a Van der Rat's generator in there. That's basically like a warp drive. So he activates it and he escapes these guys. He goes down to the hold to check out the passengers. And he realizes that he didn't give them anti-gravity dampers. So they're basically just plastering the wall. They've been turned into mincemeat. And he's like, oh shit, I'm fucked. So basically he sells his ship. He gets as far away from Sterile 3 as he can. And he starts a little hamburger stand, just trying to live incognito. I guess he's doing pretty good. And then one day, his old pal Werner shows up. And he's going to ventilate him. But Star Rat says, oh, so do you like your burger? It's 100% cat flesh. And Werner, you know who's this cat being, spits it out. It's like, what? Patooey. And he's so distracted and repulsed by that, Star Rat pulls out a gun and blows him away. So I guess he turned him into more hamburger meat. It really was cat flesh. Next we have Chapter 2 of The Damn City. Story by Ricardo Barriero and art by Juan Jimenez. And if you remember from when we left off, this guy from Earth, he's hooked up with this woman, Karen, who has been in the damn city for quite a while. He's a newbie. I should mention once again, lettering by Ken Buzanek, the Cadillac of comic book letters, and crazy colors by Polly Law. Our hero asks Karen if she's ever tried to escape the damn city, but it's impossible to. So everyone's trapped there. So basically she's like, we got to get out of this part of town. I got to abandon this apartment. Come with me. We'll find a safer place. Look at this crazy Polly Law coloring. Really unique. And last issue, remember there was those Road Warrior type guys, those smegma crazies, and Karen killed one of them. So now his buddies are back for revenge, and they start chasing our heroes. Pretty exciting chase scene, very Mad Max-y. And one of the pursuing cars, I guess Karen's gunfire hits the gas tank. This is really interesting, the way she colors this page of the car exploding. It almost obliterates the art. Like, it is like if you were looking at this through like a huge explosion, you'd probably see this. You wouldn't really see it clearly. Never seen this done before. It really sells the idea of this huge explosion. Kind of neat. Look at this crazy. She's just taking crayons and slashing them all over the place. So these guys, the rest of the guys are still in hard pursuit of these guys. They can't shake them. So Karen has a plan. And they're basically trying to lose them at every turn, but they can't. So the pursuers hit their gas tank, our hero's gas tank. She's like, we're splashing gas all over the road. We're about to be blown at Kingdom Come. Man, it's just such a dark comic. I mean, not plot-wise, the art. Just this polylog covering it, just like, I guess it kind of fits. You know, this is like this apocalyptic city. So basically her plan is, she's like, take the next turn, break, and then we'll run like hell. So they do just that. And when the guys, the pursuers around the corner, they smash right into the car, which is like a bomb because there's gas spilling from it. And then she says, come on, we can't let them get away. Because some of the guys are crawling from the cars. And she's just picking them off. She knows they're going to come back and kill her. And him. And she has to convince him. You know, he's never killed anyone in his life. He's just a graphic designer from our world. And he kills this one guy. And he pukes. It's pretty hard for him. It's the first time I ever... Karen says you'll get used to it. If you don't, you'll die. The city will get you. The city. The damned city. Look how muddled that is. Oh, it does look like a city that it's like full of smog and post-apocalyptic. Okay, next we have Tippy Toe Jones. And I think once again now I'm swinging back. The pendulum's swinging back. And I think I don't like this series again. Written by Lindley Farley, illustrated by Lewis Mitchell. I gotta say the art in this is pretty nice. This art and coloring combo, this is looking really good to me. So Tippy Toe Jones is having this crazy dream. He falls in this chasm. This is pretty nice, except for that stupid face of Tippy Toe Jones. This is a really good, basically it's Neil Adams art. It's amazing how well he can rip off Neil Adams. So he's falling and falling, because it's a dream. And then this, I think is a demon, like a fallen angel, grabs him. Tippy Toe Jones says, my brain feels like an osterized pigeon shit salad. And then this fallen angel takes off. And Tippy Toe Jones starts wandering through this place, which looks like hell. And he says, what is this godforsaken place? And that's it. Just 3 pages we get of Tippy Toe Jones. Not much happened. Oh, this is nice. Now we have another chapter of Torpedo. Story by F. Sanchez Abuli once again, but now art by Jordi Bernet. I don't know if you guys know the history of, Alex Toth did the first 2 episodes of Torpedo, which we recently saw. I guess Alex Toth, being an old school classic cartoonist, he did not like how nasty Torpedo was. And, he was getting paid well. It's totally his milieu. He loves old-timey gangster, mob stuff. Life in the city, but he just did not like Torpedo. It went against his heroic ideals. Because Alex Toth actually, I think we looked at one, where he's always aggrandizing heroes and just how we need heroes, pure, unsullied, paragons of virtue. And Torpedo is anything but that. I gotta say, man, Jordi Bernet, I don't even miss Alex Toth. I know that sounds like heresy, but he's so fucking good. This is amazing stuff. So basically, Torpedo's woken up by these 2 gunzels. And they're like, get your hat, Torpedo. The boss is waiting for you. Listen to this line, this hard-boiled line. After every blowout, somebody's got to clean up the shit. And JT, man, he had diarrhea. I was elected to wipe his ass. And he gave me the toilet paper. 10 grand. And then he tells him about the guy he once wiped out. Basically, his assignment is to take out Frankie Forever. That's his nickname. I guess he earned that nickname because JT, the boss here, the last time his boys tried to take him out, they pumped like 20 slugs into him. And a month later, he was walking around just fine. So Frankie, wised up. And he hired these 3 goons, his bodyguards, to tail him all the time. So it's going to be a hard assassination. So Torpedo comes up with this elaborate plan. He knows he can't just stroll up to the guy and kill him. He's going to have to trick him, basically. So he knows that he knows that the guy he's got to kill, he's got a soft spot for broads. He loved good-looking dames. So he knew this one woman. She was a high-class hooker. So basically he said, I'll split the money 50-50 because it's a lot of money. I think it's like $10,000. So he sets up this little love nest in a penthouse apartment. This all costing him money, but he's going to pay off. So it's basically right next. He basically rents two apartments. One is right next to the other, where Susie is gonna lure the target, and Torpedo will be waiting right across the way. So she goes out, seduces Frank. He totally falls for her hook, line, and sinker. And she basically suggests they go someplace more quiet. When they get to the apartment, Frank's goons check out the apartment, make sure there's no shenanigans going on. Everything's clear. Meanwhile, just a few feet away, Torpedo's waiting there with his Tommy gun. So Frankie gets down to business with Susie, tells his goons to drift. And then Torpedo calls the cops. This is part of the plan. So the cops come running. And Frankie slaps Susie, says, "Bitch, you set us up." And she's like, "No, Frank." And then this was definitely part of the plan too. She does a number on him. She tells him that she's crazy about him. She'd do anything to save him. She told him there's a ladder on the balcony so they could escape. Frank totally falls for it and basically lets his goons draw the fire. He just ditches them. It's like, "Hey, I'm not paying you for nothing. Hold off these cops." So while they're doing that, they climb up this ladder. And right when Frankie jumps over the wall here, Torpedo blows him away. So then there's still part of the plan left to go. Torpedo and Susie totally, they had this all ready to go. They dress up as a bride and groom and they just saunter out of the hotel right through the cops. They're just like, "Oh, that can't be the killers." And then they drive off with a "just married" sign. So basically Torpedo, he says he asked her what she'd done with her $5,000, her half of the deal. She turned white. "I don't have the money. Don't kill me. I won't say a thing," says Susie. And he says, "I'll make sure of that." So he's totally going to double cross her. But then she starts laughing. And Susie says, "I knew you'd pull this stunt, Luke. I told him, I knew it." "Who?" "Reno." And Reno's in the back seat. He's been there the whole time. Basically, it's her pimp. She was ready for him. So basically she says, "I'm not going to kill you. Cooling people isn't my game. But somebody has to teach you a lesson. Cut him, Reno." And Reno just makes this huge slash in Torpedo's face. And they leave him on the side of the road. And they take his money and his gun. So already Torpedo's planning his revenge on her. Look at that great panel. Torpedo plotting and scheming, figuring out a way to see if Susie has an Achilles heel. Just like Frankie had an Achilles heel of loving dames. He's left brooding over how he can trick her. Man, I love these little stories. And we have the coming attraction page. And that's it for Echo of Future Past, number 8. Hope you guys are enjoying looking at these Echoes of Future Past. I'm freaking loving it. I haven't read these in decades. They're really fun. Even the ones that are bad are kind of interesting. I gotta say, like, Tippy Toe Jones is freaking bizarre. There's not many comics like it in the history of comics. And even that AE35 is just, it's not great, but I have no idea where they're heading, which is always a good thing in comics or movies or anything. But of course, then when it's really good, it's amazing. I mean, just having Torpedo in every issue is totally worth the price of admission. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.